I'm going to be shooting the Predator GTO 10 pellets, 22 cal, 11.75 grain again in this video through the Air Venturi Avenger 22 caliber and my Gammo Swarm Whisper break barrel. That's right, at 50 yards. And I want to see if my findings are really that true. And with that said, the Air Venturi Avenger PCP can be adjusted externally to get velocity or whatever you're trying to tune in for. Whereas the Gammo Swarm Whisper cannot be. And the only way to increase the velocity of a gun that is non-adjustable is to shoot a lighter projectile. And as I mentioned in previous videos with this rifle, the only way to get the pellet to be more stable out of the barrel instead of going a lower velocity like this Swarm Whisper shoots the 15.89 grain JSBs at 660 feet per second at the muzzle. That really limits your range and how long that pellet stays stable in flight. So that really limits your range with this rifle. And as you've seen, I had really good results at 25 yards. But with that said, when you stretch that out to 50, they shoot all over the place. And it's because they're becoming unstable. So with that said, as I mentioned, you need to increase the velocity to shoot at farther ranges. And this is where those GTOs come in. At 11.75 grain, this Gammo Swarm Whisper now shoots in the 850 to 860 feet per second range. And I turned my Air Venturi Avenger down. From the last video, I used the GTOs in at 1,000 feet per second to around the 850 feet per second mark currently. So I'm going to get these set up and get a target down at 50 yards and see where they hit. With shooting such a light pellet, these scopes are set in with lead pellets. So I'm going to readjust the scopes to get them dialed in because those pellets shoot extremely high. Alright, I got the Gammo Swarm Whisper 22 cal out at 50 yards here with the Predator GTO 11.75 grain pellet. They are going in between the 850 and 860 feet per second mark. Holy crap, 50 yards, gee. All right, here we go. The Air Venturi Avenger with the Predator GTOs, 11.75 grain, turned down to around the 850 feet per second mark also. They did not really shoot the best as ever, going 1,000 feet per second or more, but we'll see. Wow, that is awesome. Turned them down a little bit, even though I could start to see them swirl. The group ain't too bad, but in both guns, I got one flyer. So I'm just gonna measure the 4 best shots because it's only fair that they both did it. Well, everybody, I would say that that is the most accurate representation of a break barrel versus a PCP using the same pellet, shooting around the same velocity at 50 yards. The big difference here is one being a break barrel again and one being a PCP. And with the break barrel, I was shooting with the 4-power scope, a 4x32. And on the PCP, I was shooting at 9 power. But that way I could also see how well they were flying. So I can actually see my pellets in flight, and that lets me know what they're doing. But with that said, man, you take away those flyers in here from both guns. That's right, they both threw a flyer down there at 50 yards. The break barrel grouped 4 pellets right in here, and that one right there, center to center, was 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch, guys, at 50 yards with a break barrel using a 4-power scope. And again, like I mentioned, it's the velocity downrange that keeps the pellet more stable, obviously. And if you're shooting at the velocity that that break barrel, this Gammo Swarm Whisper, puts out at 660 feet per second with the 15.89 grain lead pellet, you're shortening your range because it's not going to shoot that well at farther ranges until you increase the velocity. And the only way to do that with the gun that you cannot adjust at all is to lower the grain of the projectile. Now, onto the Avenger. They grouped up really good. 4 of them right here and a flyer, as you've seen. A 1/2 inch group center to center. Just turned down. And these were also shooting in between the 850 feet per second mark. So again, this cannot be the more accurate, most representable shooting comparing both of these power plants. That is awesome. So again, Joe, I appreciate you sending me those GTO pellets to try out. As always, guys, thanks again for watching, and I hope I did this justice.